Good afternoon. We'll continue on with part 3, dealing with Bryan Denlinger's video, part 1 on the interracial marriage. He's on 41 minutes in. Hopefully I can get this to be the third part. And, equals Proverbs 18:13. He that answers the matter before he hears it is a folly and shame unto him. We've listened so far, Bryan. 41 minutes. You haven't said one word against interracial marriage. They just set up a false premise, and then you're supposed to just follow that and say, well, boundaries mean racial boundaries. And now he's got the people from the north can't marry the people from the south because we have different accents and there's different cultures. We can't figure them out. We're one nation in the United States. People can marry whoever they want. As Christians, the issue is marry someone as a believer. That's the only issue. I said one word about that. Racial distinctions. He's worried about his racial distinctions, people. That's racism. Worried about your racial characteristics is racism. Like, I care about my racial characteristics. What does that mean? Anything? Nothing. Zero to a Christian. Nothing.
Do things alike, you think alike, you act alike. Again,
you're all sinners. So we all act alike. Christians act alike because they're saved. So a Christian in one area is going to be like a Christian in any other area because they have the same bond as Christians. So we don't have the issues of problems of boundaries because we're Christians. So a Christian who meets another Christian, a Christian from America who meets another Christian from China, is going to have an automatic bond based on their fellowship as Christians. The cultural issues won't be relevant. The Christianity of both of them is going to supersede any cultural differences because they're united in Christ.
My wife and I, she's German descent, I'm German descent.
I'm German descent. I can see DNA on this guy. I'm German descent.
A lot of things that she went through in her past, I've gone through many of those similar things.
What does that do with it? The things he went through. You're American. They're not German. They're German descent. They're not Germans. They're Americans. So the German descent has nothing to do with what they went back in the backgrounds. The fact that they're Americans has to do with their cultural backgrounds, not the German descent. In that case.
Some differences. I have some differences, but we think alike. Again, when I was looking to get married, I really didn't know what to look for and things. And I'm going to tell you a little secret here. And a lot of you are going to go, huh? I've only ever dated seriously 3 women in my life. There was other women and stuff like that, but it never got anywhere serious or anything. But I've only ever dated seriously 3 women. The first 2 were Spanish.
Oh, so what? So what?
One from Central America, one from Costa Rica, one from Honduras. He said, "Oh, you hypocrite! Listen to me."
Oh, listen to you, boy. Oh boy, oh boy. What does that do with anything? Nothing. Were they Christian? Were they saved or lost? That's the only thing I care about. I don't care where they were from.
When I was dating them, and there was never any fornication or anything, so don't go there. But the point is, when I was dating them, I confused lust for love. All right, and that's what it was. I didn't really love them. I had no real thing.
So now you're saying you can't really love a woman of your other race? See, that's what he's saying here, people. Get this down clearly. He's just made the insinuation that these women of another race, Costa Rica, from Costa Rica, Honduras, Spanish women, but he lusted after them, he really didn't love them. Not because of the issue of them being individuals and how he was relating to them on an individual basis, but because of the fact that they were Spanish. So what he's insinuating is that you'll lust after another woman of another race, but you really can't really love her.
In common with them, and
because you're not in common with them. If they're Christians, you have something in common with them. See, you're a lunatic. I can't wait they're Spanish or not. If they're Christian, then you have something in common with them, won't you?
I could feel it, even as a lost man. Back when I was dating him, I was lost.
Well, he was supposed to be a missionary over in Honduras. So was he lost? As a lost man? I don't know what he's talking about. He's talking about the Spanish women. When he was in Honduras, he's supposed to have been a missionary.
I couldn't have turned any kind of integration or segregation stuff in the Bible to save my life.
It mattered. If you're lost, basically, it didn't matter, you know, if you're lost, you were saying you were missionary activity over in Honduras. Now you're saying you're lost. Okay, now the issue is you had to marry another, you're supposed to, her response, if as a woman, if she was saved, not to marry you, or if she was lost, then two unbelievers can marry. The issue is not racial.
I was lusting after them. And it's interesting because, you know.
Boy, those women dodge a bullet. That's right. Those women dodged a bullet.
It's like I was interested in them, but yet there was just something there. There was a disconnect there going, I just don't see eye to eye with them on certain issues. I don't understand.
It's kind of to be lost and see relevant to the issue of interracial marriage for Christians. It's not a relative issue. It's personal. Those two women clearly made a love relationship for them. Okay. But you can develop a love relationship with another woman, a fallen woman.
I had no idea why I felt this way. Again, I wasn't even saved. I didn't know what.
He claims to be a missionary down in Honduras. That's why he was down in Honduras. Now he says he wasn't saved.
The King James Bible even said.
But he must have bought a lot of fruit.
But it was just something in me going, this culture is just, there's something different there. Now let's just assume that I had fought my way through that whole thing and just, I'm going to marry him anyhow and stuff. And I'd have married a woman from Central America. Do you think she'd want to live here in northern Maine?
Yeah. Yeah. I think she'd marry. No problem living in northern Maine. What are you, half? What is this guy? This guy's got to be one of the dumbest people I've ever seen in my life. Really? Really? Unbelievable. Yeah, I think she'd have no problem living in northern Maine. Come out of Central America? She'd love it.
No.
No? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So many people live up in Rhode Island from different countries.
But I married my wife, who's of German descent herself. She loves
German descent. What an idiot. German descent.
Snow just as much as I do. She loves cold temperatures.
Temperatures. You think a woman from Central America is going to worry about having cold temperatures remain. But because you have German descent, you don't mind cold temperatures.
And ironically, this area, Rooster County, is actually climate-wise almost identical to Germany.
Oh, wow. Germany. He doesn't live in Germany. He doesn't know anything about Germany. He's making his racial background an issue, dealing with something that he grew up in America. That because he has some German descent, that he has some affinity for Germany. What a lunatic.
You know, the southern part of Germany. It's cold there. It's cold here. I mean,
ooh, whoa, we can live in the cold. Look at that. We have a German background. And this woman from Central America, she couldn't handle the cold, so she don't want to come up to northern Maine.
They're very, very similar. You know?
Idiot. This is all evolution. That's what he's talking to you about, people.
It's interesting.
It's interesting. Stupidity.
We get along very, very well. Our minds think alike. But my mind never thought alike with the women, those Spanish girls that I knew in my past. And I thank the Lord that I didn't fall for that and become into an integrated situation. I thank the Lord that the Lord spared me from that. And
spared him from that. He spared him because he married another woman. The issue is, are you marrying a Christian woman? That's the only issue. He spared me from that. What a phony. And marrying a German background woman. Now, because I can get used to the cold weather because of that.
I married the right kind of a wife. You know? And again, you know,
And again. Now, one word about interracial marriage being a sin. All this idiocy about cultural backgrounds, and my background is German, therefore I have an affinity to cold weather up in Maine. What are you babbling about?
You shouldn't have brought up, your wife shouldn't have said anything about the thing of make sure that you're of the same kindred when it comes to bearing children. Well, the whole purpose of the thing of free birthing is you want to do as many things right as you can so that there won't be those complications.
Yeah, and one of them is having a midwife, at least. Which he didn't bring up. He said he hoped to have people, Christians who come, women, old women, be midwives. You at least have a midwife there.
When the child is born. And again, I know the situation.
And again, I know the situation. He had one child. He thinks he's an expert on this.
Like I've said in other things, I know of a situation where a Japanese and a Hamite had a child, and they told her in the hospital, this Japanese woman, the child's just too big. He can't come out normally.
Yeah, so that can happen within the racial characteristics. What does that have to do with anything? Yeah, Oriental women are small. So what?
Why? The genes don't work out.
The genes don't work out. The genes don't work out. What? The baby happens to be bigger. So Oriental women are used to having smaller babies. That's all. The genes don't work out. Moron.
Oh, but I know the situation. Oh, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, we know the situation, so I'm sure you do. Well, you just gave us a situation as a proof for your view, but we can't bring up our situations to tell you your view.
Exception to the rule overthrows the rule.
Well, you gave us an exception. I know Hamite, her father with the Oriental woman, but we're not allowed to bring up cases that we know about. Well, no problems in the childbirth. Well, yeah, you're exceptions to the rule. See, our examples are exceptions to the rule. His is the rule.
Cool, right? That's not how it works. I mean, common sense should prevail.
Common sense means you have a midwife present. He goes back to Exodus with the midwives. His whole thing of natural birth, setting aside the whole issue of the kindred. Make sure your kindred is the same. The fact of the matter is, yeah, you should have a midwife. They just, the baby was born Chick-fil-A. The father delivered the baby. Is that the way it should be done? No. she had the baby, the father had to deliver it. That's the exception to the rule. Now we have medical issues. We have the medical advantages. Gotta find this thing here. He wants to deny that. The medicine saved his life when his appendix broke. He wants to deny that. Ease his pain. He wants to deny that. And of course, the issue of what do you do with dental issues? Pull your own teeth? What do this guy's talking about? This guy is going to bring you back to the Stone Age. And you people think he's better than sliced bread.
Somewhere here.
Which is a new mention.
But
I want to be German bread. That dark bread and everything. I'm German. I wonder what he does. Germans drink beer, by the way. Even Luther back then. It's normal for them to drink beer. I wonder if he drinks beer.
I wish people could understand this thing, that the Bible very clearly, back in the Old Testament, says God set bounds of the people. Here it says the bounds of their habitation.
Yes, nationalism. We understand very perfectly, Brian. We understand you're retarded. You're an idiot. You and Ruckman. see. Because you deny the issue is, can two Christians marry? Don't forget about that. I'll put aside the lost world, which is, they can marry too. But the issue is the Christians. Is it a sin? I lusted after these Spanish women. I was lost, and thank God that because would that woman in Central America want to live in northern Maine? Yeah, she had a problem living in northern Maine. She'd adapt.
Why?
Human beings are adaptable, Brian. See, this is all environmentalism. This is all evolution coming from him. He's supposed to be a Christian. One thing about human beings, we're adaptable because we have a mind and make adjustments. He thinks, well, if you're born here, you can't certainly want to live over here because your environment, it's environmentalism. Anti-Christian.
Right. So that there's common ground there, so that you're both thinking alike.
Why? Because you have German descent? You're thinking alike?
I mean, again, I'll just tell you another little example here.
So see, now, his examples are proofs of his view. Our examples are exceptions to the rule. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, people. When we bring up what the Bible actually say, well, Moses married an Ethiopian, that's an exception to the rule. That doesn't overthrow the rule. What, the national boundaries? You know, people left Egypt, they left with a bunch of other people. So they intermarried. Then you have the case of the Egyptian father and the Hebrew mother. In the issue there was that the Egyptian was an unbeliever. Say the case there, you know, that to kill the guy who was got him the sticks. No, actually, cursed his parents. I think it was cursed his parents or cursed God. And so he was killed. There you got the government coming in there. But let's listen to an example here.
When, as a woodworker, there are certain woods that are similar that'll work.
Did I tell you about environmentalism? He compared mankind to Plato, and now he's comparing it to wood. This is all environmentalism, evolutionists. Evolutionism. That's what this guy is.
Work well together.
What's that to do with anything? We're not wood. Mankind is not wood. We're not animals either. You compare the or seed. You know, they go back to the diverse seeds. We're not seed. We're not animals. We can't make the different types of animals. And we're not wood. We're human beings. And as long as you're male and female, you can marry each other. And the criteria for Christians marry other Christians. That's it.
There are other woods that are completely at opposite ends of the spectrum, and you try blending them together to do certain things. It doesn't
blending. There we go.
Work.
You lose your characteristics.
God creates things to be diverse. You know, and another point I want to make here.
Nations. Man is supposed to have nations. You Christians to be diverse. We'll lose that diversity. Lose that diversity. I think God cares about as a Christian is your Christianity. He didn't care less about your racial characteristics. My child won't have those racial distinctions. Wow, oh my goodness.
Very quickly, another thing I need.
He might look better. He might come out better. You know, it might come out the two races mixing might come out better looking than the original. The blending comes out better.
Answer is this thing people say. I've seen in the comments people go, yes, well, purebred dogs are actually weaker than mutt dogs.
Get us you Asian women, beautiful women, mixture of Europe and Asian women. They come out better. So, you know, one thing Oriental women want is big eyes. That's a sign of beautiful. And the Indians, their thing is about light skin. It's about races. Their issue is about light skin. It's all relevant to God. It's all relevant to God. This is all man, looking at flesh. What does God care about? Your soul. He doesn't care about your flesh, what your flesh looks like.
Mutt dogs are healthier. Again, that is a total, complete fabrication.
Now he's talking about dogs. See, it's all environmentalism. Buckman was into this. You study Buckman's works. You know, you know, Christianity breaks all of that nonsense. But he's an environmentalist. He basically, man, there's three characteristics. You know, you go, you know, this, that, and the other thing.
It's a lie. All right, you get a purebred dog that's been bred for a certain thing, like you get an Irish wolfhound. They're the biggest dogs.
I got news for you, Brian. We're not dogs. We're not wood. We're not Plato.
You know, in the world, I believe, and they're huge, just gigantic. I mean, the things are like, you know, their backs are like this high or something. I mean, they're gigantic dogs, and they were bred to be very, very big. Well, they have problems because of that. They've gotten too far away from the original type of a canine type of dog. If you want to see a pure canine, look at a fox or a wolf or a coyote. That's a pure wild canine, and you have dogs that are very similar to that. Like the
what's this doing to marriage? Now he's talking about the issue of mankind and the racial characteristics, and he's comparing us to dogs.
German Shepherd, golden retrievers, husky dogs. You know, I'm not, you know, not the name for that, you know, but a husky dog. They are, you know, very close to what a wolf or a coyote looks like, and they're not going to have problems.
This supposed to be a Bible study. What's it to do with the Bible? Nothing. Remember, he got up there, huffing and puffing. I'm going to teach you the Bible. I'm going to show you from the Bible, interracial marriage. What God says about interracial marriage. Okay, show us. What are you showing us? He's talking about wood. He's talking about dogs. Well, he's talking about Play-Doh. He's talking about, the Hamite one guy, with those Oriental women. We want a natural birth. We make sure, cut down the odds, improve your odds. Well, how about having a midwife? Well, Joseph and Mary didn't need a midwife, so we don't need a midwife. Okay. Yeah.
You want seeing eye dogs, you get a German Shepherd. You want a police dog that can sniff out drugs or bombs or whatever, you get a German Shepherd.
He's an expert, too. He's an expert in everything, this guy. So what? So what? Waste my time.
Again, I'll tell you a little story.
Oh, God.
We had a German Shepherd growing up. Her name was Sally. And she was, I don't know how pure she was or whatever else. We bought her from an Amish breeder and there's plenty of problems there. But Sally was an incredibly intelligent dog. She could find a way to, we had a chain hooked to her house, like a dog chain, and it had the little hasp thing on it that you push the little lever up and then you click it on to the collar and then it locks. She figured a way out to get that thing undone. And she went out and she was running around town and actually had puppies from another dog and messed up her kindred purity. But that's the way dogs are. They don't have the brains to not do that. But,
See, that's compared to dogs. Kindred purity. And he wants to say he's not a racist. Kindred purity. Just put the word Aryan purity in there. And what do you got? Right? Kindred purity. Nowhere. Where's that in the Bible? Where's that in the Bible, Bryan? Kindred purity. You won't find that phrase in the King James Bible anywhere. Kindred purity.
Sally, at one point in time, I remember it was a summertime, and we're sitting there eating supper, and she was out in the backyard. She was just loose. We lived in the woods, so she's being on the property there. But I remember this one time we're sitting there eating, and we see the door knob. We hear the doorknob. And all of a sudden, she has her paws like this on the outside.
This guy's just yapping about 20 minutes about a dog, how smart a dog is, a German Shepherd. And of course, she destroyed her kindred purity.
Outside, standing up, and she opens the door to the side of the house, pushes the door open, drops down, and walks into the kitchen. She's a smart dog.
Yeah, okay.
We had other mutt dogs. They couldn't figure that thing out to save their lives.
So what's that proof?
What am I saying?
Yeah, good question. What am I saying? Bryan, what are you saying?
She was pure.
Oh, she was pure. You just got off first started off as saying, I don't know how pure she was. She came from a breeder. Now you're saying she was pure. And that's what made her smart, because she was pure.
At least before she went out and did her thing there.
You started off with this saying you don't know her purity. Let me go back, see if I can find it.
But it was just something in me going, this culture is in the hospital, this Japanese woman, the child just than mutt dogs. Mutt dogs are healthier. Again, that is a total complete fabrication. That is a lie. All right, you get a purebred dog that's been bred for a certain thing, like you get an Irish Wolfhound. They're the biggest dogs, in the world, I believe, and they're huge, just gigantic. I mean, the things are like, their backs are like this high or something. I mean, they're gigantic dogs, and they were bred to be very, very big. Well, they have problems because of that. They've gotten too far away from the original type of a canine type of dog. If you want to see a pure canine, look at a fox or a wolf or a coyote. That's a pure wild canine.
It's not a dog. It's not a dog.
And you have dogs that are very similar to that, like the German Shepherd, golden retrievers, husky dogs. I'm not, not the name for that, but a husky dog. They are, very close to what a wolf or a coyote looks like, and they're not going to have problems. You want seeing eye dogs, you get a German Shepherd. You want a police dog that can sniff out drugs or bombs or whatever, you get a German Shepherd. Again, I'll tell you a little story. We had a German Shepherd growing up. Her name was Sally, and she was, I don't know how pure she was or whatever else.
Do not know how pure she was. I do not know how pure she was, and yet 5 minutes later he's going to say how pure she was. Go back here. Got that? I don't know how pure she was.
You get an Irish Wolfhound. They're the biggest dogs, in the world, I believe, and they're huge, just gigantic. I mean, the things are like, their backs are like this high or something. I mean, they're gigantic. But that's the way dogs are. They don't have the brains to not do that. But Sally, at one point in time, I remember it was a summertime, and we're sitting there eating supper, and she was out in the backyard. She was just loose. We lived in the woods, so she'd be on our property there. But I remember this one time we're sitting there eating, and we see the door knob. We hear the doorknob, and all of a sudden she has her paws like this on the outside, standing up, and she opens the door to side of the house, pushes the door open, drops down, and walks into the kitchen. She was a smart dog. We had other mutt dogs. They couldn't figure that thing out to save their lives. What am I saying? She was pure.
See? She was pure. He just got saying, I don't know how pure she was. Got just saying 5 minutes ago. I don't know how pure she was. Got from Amish breeder. Now she says, now he goes, she was pure. Well, maybe she wasn't pure. Maybe that's what made her so smart. Smarter than the average German Shepherd. That's what you get from this guy. This is what you get from this half-wit.
At least before she went out and did her thing there. And
well, how would that make her less pure? Her offspring would be less pure. How would creating puppies make her any less pure with another mating with another a mongrel breed? Make her less pure. Make him less. Make him. Well, I guess it's a her. Excuse me. That's why. Okay. So she had puppies. Okay, I was thinking it was a male. So the puppies that were created were less pure. She wasn't less pure. She was still pure as far as what she was before she mated with the male. This guy can't even figure that out. I mean, it doesn't make her less pure. The puppies would be of a lesser purity. Let me go back here.
He'd be on our property there. But I remember this one time we're sitting there eating, and we see the door knob. We hear the doorknob, and all of a sudden she has her paws like this on the outside, standing up, and she opens the door to side of the house, pushes the door open, drops down, and walks into the kitchen. She was a smart dog. We had other mutt dogs. They couldn't figure that thing out to save their lives. What am I saying?
Of course, he could have had it fixed, which would have been the smart thing to do, the responsible thing to do, so she wouldn't have puppies. But that's beyond these guys thinking.
She was pure.
She was pure. Remember, a few minutes ago he said we're not sure how pure she was, but now she's saying she was pure.
At least before she went out and did her thing there.
At least before she went out and did her thing there. Well, what she did out there didn't affect her purity. At least before she did her thing out there. It didn't affect her purity. She's still pure as far as she is. It affected the puppies. And then the offspring. It didn't affect her.
And, so this argument that a purebred is somehow inferior or something like that,
what does this have to do with mankind? Nothing.
A total lie. Unless you're talking about a pure, quote unquote, genetically modified dog, like a teacup poodle or a.
See what these guys get into? What does that do with mankind? And particularly Christians? Nothing.
Irish, wolf.
So environmental. The very thing they condemn and hate as the Antichrist, they put into their theology.
One of these types of dogs like that, yeah, they do have problems because they're so, bred for certain traits for so many years, for sometimes, centuries.
Well, that's what he just talked about. He talked about the dogs being bred for certain things. That's what happens. It weakens them. You breed horses, the same thing. It weakens them for certain areas. You can't breed an animal. They have to have some type of, strength to them. If you're breeding for a pure reason, they'll be weak in other areas. Jesus contradicts himself all the time.
To get to where they're at. And yeah, they will have problems. They'll have bone problems and stuff because they're too big.
Yeah, they used to go at the dog that was too big. That's a purebred dog. These breeders breed dogs that create problems because they overbreed them to try to get for a particular reason.
Or
what does that do to mankind? Nothing.
Small. But my point is,
here's no point.
This whole thing.
This whole thing, what?
Of, just science teaching that when you breed things of similar descent, you're going to have
science. See, he's putting science.
Good offspring.
See, he's putting science. Science falsely so-called. That's environmentalism. We're men. We're mankind. We ain't going to get science. What has to do with interracial marriage? Christians, nothing.
Yeah, it's science. Again, do you think that the people that are trying to breed racehorses, do you think that they go out and they say, well, we'll just get kind of any old, draft horse over here and a miniature pony over there?
So he's comparing mankind with animals. That's environmentalism. That's evolution. That's what he's talking about. This is what this is all based on. This is what they did in the South. This is what this racist view is. That men are looked like animals. It's evolution. And he's supposed to be a Christian.
Well, come out with a racehorse. Of course not.
No, we want good genetic, strong aliens. Come out, so we're going to breed. So the Nazis did. They used the women for breeding purposes. And they get the strongest men genetically and breed with them. That's what this moron's talking about. That's what Ruckman was basically talking about. It's racism. You call it anything you want. It's, the reality is you're talking about evolution, environmentalism.
But yet when you suggest it for people,
You suggest it for people. You suggest it for people. Can you imagine that? 50 minutes in. But imagine, you suggest breeding people like you breed animals. What?
So, you ought to marry somebody of your own kindred.
Yeah, your own kindred. What? Is that going to give you a better racial stock?
Somebody that's within the bounds of your habitation?
Bounds of habitation is America. The bounds of habitation isn't Pennsylvania. The bounds of habitation is America. That's a national entity. So American, if you want to talk about the bounds of nationality, you can marry anybody within America. How about that? Can't marry any other people from anywhere. Bounds of habitation. You see how stupid this is? You got to be a total nitwit to accept this stuff. Brain dead. Brain dead.
And there are certain boundaries too within America, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
There are certain areas where kindreds separate themselves.
Oh, so now he's divided within boundaries. Where are the boundaries kindreds that separate themselves in America? See, that's John Phillips. Kindreds separate themselves within America now. When God set boundaries of nations, now he's trying to establish a nation within a nation.
You get a bunch of black people down south.
Oh, now we got black. Now we got the blacks coming. Now we got blacks, whites, and coming. Okay.
Georgia or something like that. They don't want to live around white people.
So now it's racial. See, people in Georgia. Well, it's white people in Georgia too. I heard. From I heard, there's white people in Georgia too. See, that's why he moved to Maine, people. He moved to Maine because it's one of the whitest states in the Union. That's why he moved to Maine. Not because it's cold. Good German. Maybe because of white. He looked at the demographics and he moved to a white area.
And again, I've seen that.
I've seen it. Brian's seen it. So it must be true. You've seen what? That a lot of people, black people in Georgia, a lot of white people in Georgia. What does that have to do with racial integration? Intermarriage.
I've been different places and stuff.
Oh, he's been different places, people. So you have to take his word now. What? He has to say one word from the Bible against interracial marriage, people. 50 minutes in. All you Denlinger people, come thumb me down, you little punks, and show Put a comment and say, oh, he's proving interracial marriage is a sin. Prove it. Now he's saying there's in the United States, kindred. When the whole idea wasn't kindred, the idea was national boundaries. Now he's changed, he's shifted the idea of kindreds. Well, you know, within the United States, there's kindred. No, the issue wasn't kindred. The issue was national boundaries in Acts 17. He set the boundaries of the nations. The boundary of the United States is within the whole United States.
I remember as a boy, I tell you this story too.
Oh, here we go. So 1 hour, he started off huffing and puffing, telling he was going to prove from the Bible interracial marriage is a sin. And it's in one word, one verse. He's proved God set up national boundaries for nations, the nation state. That's all he's shown. And now he's trying to say within the United States itself, there'll be kindred division.
In Washington, D.C., the one time we went down, and my dad ended up getting lost. We went down to see the thing as a family, as a vacation, and he ended up taking a bunch of wrong turns, and he got over to the bad part of the town, or I should say the black part of the town. I guess it's not bad if you're black, but it was for us. And
what's that racist statement? It's the poor part. Not because it's black, but because it's poor. That would be why. Obviously, it'd be a high crime rate there. He just made a racist statement. Well, it's bad for us. It wouldn't be bad for blacks, but not bad for us because we're whites. This guy, man.
So these black kids out running up over the cars, playing on the cars and stuff, and they said, "Look, whiteys!" when they saw us going by.
Ooh. Wow. See, this guy knows everything. So he's shocked the fact that, because this is a predominantly black area, you find that in Italian neighborhoods, Irish neighborhoods, German neighborhoods, you know, the old days Jewish neighborhoods. They were very American, came in very instantly. You know, these immigrant families would basically establish their own areas. They have Chinatown, things like that. So yeah, you've been outside in that little area. By the third generation, people intermarrying with each other. That ended.
They're yelling, "Hey, look at the whiteys! Look at the whiteys!" You know, they didn't want us there.
So they didn't want us there. That means that interracial marriage is a sin. They didn't want us there. See how stupid this guy is.
They weren't saying, "Oh, come on, move in. We got a nice place next door here. Why don't you move in?" They were saying, "Hey, get out of our neighborhood." You know what? There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Okay. What makes interracial? Why is interracial marriage a sin? What about interracial marriage? What about it? He didn't say one word about it. Nothing wrong with that. He wants the blacks to stay black. So a white person who might live there, can't marry a black. See, now he's making racial people. That's the kindred.
Why? They don't want us there. They have bounds of their habitation.
Again, bounds of their habitation is Washington, D.C. Get that, people. The bounds of their habitation, God has established the bounds of their habitation is a little area in Washington, D.C. for these black people. Oh, man, oh, man. This guy is Lunatune number one.
Why am I going to go and take my culture?
Your culture? They're Americans. You're American. Your culture is irrelevant. The issue is Christian. You go as a Christian, you go in there to evangelize.
To their neighborhood. Why? Oh, because we all have to be one. We're going to see where that philosophy...
We're Americans. We are one with those people in Washington, D.C. You moron. We are one. They are Americans.
It comes from. It doesn't come from God.
What an idiot. Unbelievable. Can't make this stuff up.
Well, let's continue. Enough of my little stories for now.
Which prove nothing. Just how stupid you are.
Now, Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. I mean, I think by now you should be able to see that God definitely has set bounds. You can't.
Have you seen any of that? Bounds, national boundaries. Now he's tried to move those boundaries within the United States itself and talk about races, kindreds. And said, why would those black people want me in that Washington area? That's where this guy's going. He's a nut. He's a nut. Oops. Oh, name. I lost it. Oh. spinning. Let me stop here spinning right now. And I'll put this up after I go fourth part. So we'll deal with that. Now I see, but these parts separate people in the United States. When God set national boundaries, this is nations who deals with the kindred. This is all racist. All racist. Why would they want me in that neighborhood in Washington, D.C.? You know, they don't want me there. What are you talking about? Racist. The guy's a nutcase. He has no idea. I mean, they're different people. They're Americans. Talking about different people. Stop here and put this up. Amen. Thank you.